The Ouija board spelled my name and told us to look in my closet. There was nothing there. At least not that night. I'm Nicole, and this is Haunted Threads After Dark, where we do scary, paranormal, creepy stories. If that's your thing, then go ahead and turn the volume up, turn the lights down low, but whatever you do, don't look behind you. I've gone back and forth on whether to send this because I know how it sounds. I'm also probably the last person anyone would expect to tell a Ouija board story. Don't really believe in this stuff, or at least I didn't before this happened. This was during my junior year of college. I was renting an old house a few blocks off campus with 3 other girls. It wasn't creepy or abandoned looking or anything like that. It was just an old, cheap college rental where nothing quite worked the way it was supposed to. One afternoon, I was cleaning my bedroom closet. There was this built-in shelving unit against the back wall. And while I was trying to get something that had fallen behind it, I felt something flat wedged between the shelf and the wall. It was a Ouija board. Just the board, no box, no planchette. I remember laughing when I pulled it out because it seemed like exactly the kind of thing you'd find in an old college house. I showed my roommates, we made a few jokes about the previous tenants summoning demons, and then I leaned it against my dresser and forgot about it. That Friday night, we had a few friends over, nothing big. We were drinking, listening to music, sitting around talking. One of the guys noticed the board. He immediately wanted to use it. I told him there wasn't a planchette, and that should have ended it. Instead, he grabbed an empty shot glass, flipped it upside down, and put it in the middle of the board. Problem solved. I remember telling everyone that if the glass moved, I was absolutely blaming them. There were 5 of us around the board. We barely took it seriously at first. Someone asked, "Is anyone here?" Nothing happened. Then the glass moved slowly. It slid over to yes. Everybody started laughing and accusing everybody else of pushing it. I was convinced one of the guys was doing it. Someone asked, "What's your name?" The glass moved again, but this time it didn't spell anything that made sense. It went to a couple of random letters, stopped, then moved back toward the middle. That made me even more sure someone else was messing around. So I said something like, "Okay, if you're actually here, prove it." Nothing happened. We waited. Still nothing. I laughed and said, "Exactly." One of the roommates said, "Wow, terrifying." Everybody started making jokes about how apparently we'd found the world's laziest ghost. Then somebody asked, "Where should we look?" The glass moved again, and it spelled C-L-O-S-E-T, closet. That got our attention, mostly because the board had been found in my closet. One of the guys asked, "Which closet?" The glass started moving almost immediately. E-M-M-A. That's my name. Everybody looked at me. I still thought somebody was doing it, so I said, "Very funny." Of course, we all went upstairs. They opened my closet like they expected someone to be standing inside. There was nothing in there. We checked behind the clothes, behind the door, even behind the shelving where I'd found the board. Nothing. At that point, the whole thing became funny again. We went downstairs and somebody said something about never letting me live it down, being personally haunted by a piece of cardboard. But when we got back to the table, the shot glass was sitting over goodbye. Nobody was near the board. That bothered me more than I wanted to admit, but there was enough people in the house that I could still tell myself somebody had moved it. We stopped playing after that. The next morning we were cleaning up when one of my roommates started making fun of the whole thing again. She picked up the board and said, "Come on, Emma's ghost, do something." "Why are you taunting it? Don't do that." Nothing happened. She laughed. Then maybe 20 or 30 seconds later, there was a huge crash from the living room. A framed mirror that had been hanging on the wall was on the floor. The glass was shattered. Everybody went quiet. The nail was still in the wall. The wire on the back of the mirror wasn't broken. We stared at it for a while, and eventually somebody said what we were all thinking. Old house. Maybe it hadn't been hung properly. It was creepy timing, but that was it. That night, I put the Ouija board back in my closet. I didn't want to look at it anymore. Sometime after 2 a.m, I woke up. At first, I didn't know why. Then I heard someone say my name, Emma. It was quiet, not from outside my room, not from the hallway. It sounded like it came from inside the bedroom. I sat there listening. Nothing. I told myself one of my roommates had called me, so I got up and opened my door. The hallway was dark. Everyone's doors were closed. I checked my phone. No texts, no calls. When I turned around, my closet door was open. Not wide open. Maybe 6 inches. I knew I had closed it. The latch on the door was bad, though, so I told myself it probably popped open. I shut it and went back to bed. The next day, I didn't tell anybody. That's the part people always ask when I tell the story. Why didn't you say something? Because saying it out loud would have made it real. Over the next 2 days, little things started happening. One roommate heard footsteps upstairs when everybody was downstairs. Another swore somebody had walked past the bathroom while she was showering. I heard my name again. Always once. Never yelling, just Emma. The third night was when I stopped trying to explain it. I woke up and my closet door was open again. There was something standing inside. I couldn't see a face. I could only see the outline of a person behind my clothes. At first, I thought one of my roommates was messing with me. Then it moved. Not toward me. It leaned sideways slowly, like it was trying to look around the hanging clothes at me. I grabbed my phone and turned on the flashlight. Nothing was there. I screamed anyway. Everybody came running. That was when one of my roommates finally admitted that she had been hearing someone whisper her name too. Another roommate immediately started to cry. She'd heard hers the night before. We got rid of the Ouija board the next morning. We didn't sell it or give it away. One of my roommates drove it to the dumpster across town because none of us wanted it anywhere near the house. For about 3 days, nothing happened. Then it started again. At first, it was just the whisper, Emma. Always late at night, always close enough that I couldn't tell if it was coming from my closet, the hallway, or right beside my bed. Then one night, I woke up to the sound of my closet door opening. I kept my eyes closed. I could hear the hinge moving slowly, then stop. A few seconds later, the mattress dipped near my feet. Oh, Lord. Not much, just enough that I felt it. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. And then, right beside me, a voice whispered, Emma. I stayed like that until morning. The Ouija board had been gone for almost a week. I moved out of that house at the end of the semester. I've never touched a Ouija board again. The thing I still think about is that we all assumed getting rid of the board would make it stop. But if something really did answer us that night, maybe the board was never what it was attached to. Maybe it was just how we let it in. Well, there you go. Another scary Ouija board story that I keep saying, don't play with Ouija boards because they're not good for you. They're terrible. You don't know what you're letting in. That was just mild. It could have been way worse. Let me know if you guys like this video. Go ahead and like and comment and go ahead and follow me here. If you have a story you'd like me to read, then go ahead and go to hauntedthreadsafterdark.com. The link is in my bio. Just go ahead and press it and I'll take you there. Or you can DM me, but I would prefer you to go to the site and submit it there. I hope that you have a great night. Until tomorrow, when I bring you more nightmares, try to sleep tight if you can. Bye.